All right. Welcome to CAPECAST, a special afternoon CAPECAST.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
I am so jealous of this professionalism already. I was like,
wow, our show is terrible.
The music, the perfect spin. I was like, what the? Oh, man.
This is what you get when you get a designer and a marketing guy running a comic book show on YouTube. We're like,
okay. That explains a lot.
When you got Trailer Trash doing another one, that's what I was like.
You can be a little excessive, So
the differences for sure. That explains your guys' logo. I absolutely love your guys' logo, and Matt and I we had a
branded design.
It's awesome. I really like it. It stands out. It looks great. I wanted to mention that to you guys. Matt and I have gone through a couple of iterations of our logo, and we wanted something that really popped, and that people would catch people's eyes. But yeah, your guys, you have a fantastic logo.
Thanks, dude.
Brandon's like, stop it. Stop. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, especially with that intro. That was amazing.
Right?
I still can't get over that. I almost want you to play it again because I was just like, I can't believe that. That was so awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's run it again. 30 seconds, and then we'll do it.
We're going live again. All right. We're here tonight. We've got some special guests, obviously. We've got Matt and Shane from Comic Book Movie Marks. And definitely recommend that you guys check their YouTube channel out, check their Twitter out, all their social, at Comic Book Movie Marks. Guys, like we kind of just said, it's great to have you.
Thanks
Brandon,
for having us. We appreciate it.
Good to see you. It's been so long.
Good to see you, Ryan. Good to see all you.
But we just go ahead, Brandon. You're good.
No, I was just gonna say, Ryan and I were kind of like talking about maybe having guests on. I was like, we got to have these guys on. I remember, I think it was how I discovered you guys was like right after SnyderCon. I was looking for anybody to give some insight on what was going on. I think you guys did. At least it was the first one that I found. And I think it was the two of you like sitting in your car, like recapping. And I remember, I think it was Matt was just like talking crap about the guy asking the Spider-Man question at the end, and how everybody was so curious about that. Right? I get it. I mean, it was a dumb question. But yeah. So I was like, we got to have, because I love you guys' editorial stuff that you do. As far as like breaking down your informative stuff, all that, and it's like it's super informative and it's like hilarious at the same time. So we're both just super excited to have you guys on for sure. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and heck, it's a great day to do it. Let's be honest. We had some
perfect timing.
We were like, we should have these guys on. We're like, Saturday sounds good.
Yeah, our crappy schedule worked out really well.
There you go.
Right. But yeah, so we just wanted to get you guys on and talk about. We'll start out here just talking about IGN and kind of your guys' general reactions on everything, and obviously we can go into specifics. We've got some clips pulled that we can show also to kind of give some folks some context. But did you guys like it? Did you enjoy it?
Well, I hope we're just talking about the Zack Snyder stuff because that's really all I've watched so far.
Yeah,
we tried to be very specific with our graphics.
Yeah,
we didn't either.
Okay, all right, good. I was a little nervous. My little boy plays hockey now, and so I was like, I only really have time for the important stuff, which is clearly Zack Snyder. And so I was like, oh man, if they talk about something else, I'm gonna be lost.
You got a friend down there in the comments.
I like Shane's tweet a while back on that one when they were like asking, I don't know, was somebody submitting questions to Tom Holland, and Shane put a tweet out, ask him what his favorite Superman is. I was like, yeah, there we go. That makes most sense. Yeah, I only watched the Snyder one. I did watch like 15 minutes beforehand where they were talking about Batman Beyond, which that intrigued me actually. So now I might go back and try to find that, because that was actually very interesting. You kind of see a little bit of the origins of how the Batman Beyond animated series came about. But so I liked it. I liked it a lot. It went off better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
because I wasn't sure how.
Carrie Schwartz did a great job.
Yeah, she did a great job. In Snyder, he, sometimes when he's, it just depends who he's with sometimes, because like with Grace, he's got a lot of high energy and stuff. So sometimes, when he's in different interviews, sometimes he just, Right. So, but this one, he had energy, he brought stuff, and that I don't even know what that thing is. That the 3 mother boxes with all
no
this
one like
information.
no one knows what to call it. Like when they're just like, it was awesome. I don't really know what it was, but it was great.
I don't know. I couldn't find it recently. I couldn't find it afterwards, but it reminded me a lot. There was like this thing that somebody did. It was like statues, and it was like this reveal of Darkseid a long time ago, and it had this like epic music, and it would go through all the statues of the characters and everything, and then it would end on like Darkseid's eyes or something like that, and how he looked and everything. I thought that was pretty freaking awesome, and that's what this kind of reminded me of. This little for those who didn't have a chance to check it out earlier, this is the kind of animation that he created, and he kind of it sounds like the way I thought of it was that shirt that he put out a while back with the kind of what his 5-movie arc was. I felt like this was all the animated version of that.
Yeah, to me, it screams like end credits. But I know that Scott McClellan was kind of theorizing that it could have been like something they were going to create for like an opening credits for when it was a series, possibly. And they just didn't want to leave it unused. Maybe, I don't know.
It's
considering that the Tom Waits song is on here. I mean, unless they're changing it and putting it in the movie with the Hallelujah, like he had mentioned, was going to be the end. But
yeah,
we'll
I've
see.
seen some people for this already. I think that actually the funniest one somebody made a comparison to that I saw was actually if you go back to the Batman one where he kind of looks like he's tied. Looks like he's kind of tied up the back. Someone was comparing it to Daredevil, one of the Daredevil posters for one of the seasons. I think it was season 2. And season 2, I think it was season 2 of Daredevil was released on March 18th. And so I was like, yeah, that. And it looks very similar to if you Daredevil.
I can definitely see that.
Yep. And I was like, man, are you kidding me? I don't know if that's just pure coincidence or not.
Yeah.
But if he's even throwing Marvel Easter eggs into that thing,
right?
That's
Ben Affleck who played Daredevil. Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
All sorts of stuff.
That's the thing, and that's a very true comment. I was actually, because I was pulling these clips, I was watching the live stream numbers, and after Zach's thing ended, it just just tanked.
Yeah, there's obviously interest for this, and all of these companies are starting to figure that out. And smart of IGN to incorporate Zack Snyder into the whole panel and everything, because I'm sure that was the highlight for a lot of people. And as I thought the panel, at least his, was really well done. You mentioned the lady's name earlier, who was interviewing him. And beforehand, I thought she did a fantastic job. And I was a little, I guess, cautious about how it was going to come across. And Matt touched on it just a second ago about the difference between if Snyder is on, if he's hanging out like Dave the Film Junkie versus if he's on with Grace Randolph or whoever. And I was like, oh man, I really hope that he brings the energy, and so does the person who's interviewing him. And I guess she did that.
And Brandon, you've mentioned before too, he's gotten since he started doing this like big time DC stuff at Comic-Cons and stuff, he's gotten a lot better at doing the press type stuff than he was.
I always give the example. I was at Comic-Con in 2012 for the Man of Steel panel, and he just seemed so nervous on stage. It was just him and Cavill, but he was like not. It was still early as far as him having that kind of at least on a major stage like that, I guess. I mean, I'm sure that's a daunting stage anyway. It's like 6,000 people or something. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he seems to have gotten more and more comfortable with just being on, like as far as like promoting himself instead of I guess he's kind of like us in terms of just doesn't want to like take the praise that people get. Like I shy away from all that stuff as much.
We joke that Brandon's terrible at taking compliments. You see, you give him a compliment, and he, instead of saying thanks, he goes, "Okay."
Yeah, we're like that too. You give us a compliment, we turn it around on you. You really mean we're the shits.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I failed already.
No, you are good. It happens, man. But yeah, so they played that clip there, and like you guys mentioned, there's tons of people speculating online, like what the purpose of it originally was, because you got to imagine it wasn't just for they didn't create that thing just for IGN.
Yeah.
I like the concept of it being the intro for the series. That's pretty cool. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I was like, that is very Game of Thrones-ish. Like,
yeah.
yeah. And something.
And this is how it lives on. I mean, I'm glad we at least got to see it. If that's all it is I guess it's just like a throwaway thing that they're not going to be using anymore. So
sure,
it's cool for him to use that platform to push it out.
Yeah, you got to think too that something like that. I saw another person mention that it could maybe be like a Blu-ray menu type deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Which could be that's the Blu-ray disc menu.
Do you guys collect physical media, or are you digital buyers? Because
I used to largely.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna finish?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. I mean, we're like we push it all the time. So, but we feel like you can kind of start to feel like you're in a bubble, especially within the Snyder community, as far as like not knowing what other people think outside of your bubble, so to speak. So yeah, Ryan and I and our Al, the guy that we do our other show with, we're huge like physical media pushers, but I kind of feel like we're alone in that regard as far as so when you say like it'd be cool to see it on a DVD or Blu-ray menu or whatever, people are like, what people still buy this?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
It definitely depends on for me on the type of movie or whatever the case is. In some instances, I'm gonna go as lazy as possible and it's gonna be through Vudu. In most cases, or Amazon Prime, maybe buying it off of that. But then if it was Zack Snyder's Justice League, absolutely, I would buy that. I own Man of Steel, I want to say in 4 different versions, whether it's in Blu-ray, I own like, I don't own the 4K one, if there is one yet. I'm not even sure. I should know. And then I bought it twice on Vudu. So it's depending on the type of movie or whatever, then I would collect it twice on Vudu. So
I'm curious on that one. How did you do that?
The version that I got was the Walmart, and I've told this story on our show before, but Walmart is actually, I blame them for turning me onto the like digital side, because I bought tickets for Man of Steel for the Walmart viewing release. Yep. And it came with either a code or something for your copy when it comes out on DVD or whatever the case. And it would be like, I think it was a Vudu code. So mine says, my first version says Walmart exclusive or something along those lines. And it doesn't have everything with it. And it was only to a certain quality level. Actually, I think it is now when I rebought it, it's in the HDR version, not in the 4K, but I guess they're 4K equivalent. So that's what I went back and rebought it for, is because it had the higher resolution, and then it has more special features and stuff like that. I think I have like the first version was a featurette and those things. But yeah, it's again, I guess back to the original part, it depends on what it is. I don't collect a ton of stuff, but for Zack Snyder's Justice League, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would probably be resounding throughout the community. I mean, everybody's going to support this in every way they can.
Absolutely.
Especially with like theatrical releases, if that ever happens, So
Greg's coming in hot.
Carryover from our last one.
God, it was for me, actually, I would blame WB almost, because I was physical media all the way, like forever. And then when Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition was coming out, if I remember right, they did the digital version a week early before the physical version. And they did that multiple times with Suicide Squad 2, the extended cut. Right. That was a week or maybe even 2 weeks before the physical one was out. So I started buying digital ones to get it sooner, because they want you to double dip. And
I'm a sucker and did. Definitely for PVS, I did.
And I never did. I stayed true. I always waited for the physical, never bought that digital.
Oh.
And I see the signs. They're trying to phase that out. I get it. Makes sense. But, I still listen. I told you that I live near Athens. I live in Royston, which is in the middle of nowhere. And so our internet, I hope that my internet stays strong enough for this stream. So that's why I can't rely on digital. I
totally get that. My brother lives in the middle of Texas, and the best signals he can get is probably like the lowest thing you can get here. And it's just not enough to stream at least decently stream movies or anything like that. So he doesn't have the Netflix. He has a mountain of physical copies. He goes to the Walmart and just buys whatever he thinks looks cool. And he's got mountains of physical copies because he just doesn't have that ability. And I completely understand that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's two sides of it. I love the collector's aspect of it, and I mean, it's kind of a necessity for me out here in nowhere. So,
yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah, I'm like combing Blu-ray.com for the $5 buys every week, and my wife's like, "Did you buy another Blu-ray?"
At least you haven't made your way to the forums where you like post your hauls and things like that. That's where that's the dark web of physical media.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I do own like multiple copies though of things, so I like because I do keep updating. Like I had like Dark Knight on DVD, and now I realized I was like, wait, I only got it on DVD. Go buy the Blu-ray copy and everything else, and keep updating that. Same thing with Terminator 2. I was like, oh, I got the old T2 case and everything, and now I'm like,
I'll try. I'm sorry, Chris. I'll try. I'll do better next time.
And I just keep updating those older movies a lot of the times to keep them up to.
Matt, did you said Terminator 2? Did you buy the 4K remaster of that?
Fan.
Did I buy the what?
The 4K remaster of T2?
Yeah.
You mentioned that. That's the one you bought?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of controversy. I know this isn't Snyder related, but there was a lot of controversy around a lot of like DNR and stuff that was applied to that, like grain removal and that kind of thing. Did you have any issues when you're watching that?
Yeah, I noticed it. It looks
Did it
weird.
bother you?
When you see, I mean, I don't know why I would go too much bother, but I've only watched it once. But I have also I also have T2 on digital too, as well. So I have it like on like 4 different formats.
Well, pray tell, how do you buy it on 4 different formats?
Well, I have the original VHS
turntables.
It's okay.
And I have DVD and then the 4K Blu-ray, whatever Ultra thing or whatever, and then I also have it on digital because it also came with a digital code. But I go to the digital code, and I prefer watching that one. And I think I've only watched that one once, and I just go back to the digital one every other time.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely convenient for sure. And I'm like you. I think I have it on VHS. I have the like T2 Steelbook Indo edition or whatever, and then for DVD, and then regular Blu-ray, and then this 4K one that came with like the to scale Indo arm. So
I don't have the Blu-ray one, but I do have the metal skull one, the hard case. I got that one, and then I got the 4K Ultra, whatever HDR.
Awesome. Welcome to T2 Cast.
No,
Hijack.
I could talk about T2 all day.
That's
easily. I love it. That's that's a child. It's good to see a childhood movie stand up or keep. It is a great movie. It's not a good movie because I was a kid. Yeah. It's a great movie in general. So it's great to see those movies stand the test of time.
We have that argument a lot on our other show, CiNEMACHiNE. So we understand.
We've got a guy on our other show who's like indie, super old flick guy. And then there's me and Brandon who have a comic book show. So we are not that. So you can imagine the dynamic.
Well, like
I do have to mention before we forget, we got to show our matching wardrobes.
Oh yeah, no kidding. There we go. We are
we're asymmetrical.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny. Matt and I, it's never coordinated, but there have been a handful of times, probably like 5 or 6 times, where when we're putting our little name down here, where we've gone. I know Black Suit was one of them. We had another one somewhat recently where, we're just going in like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to type in, and we had the same exact idea. So obviously, we're all, that's right. Aspect ratio one. We don't do that intentionally. That's just complete accident. We're like, okay, perfect.
See, I'm the only one that keeps that thing going though, because you did actually the professional name here, and I just
for the guest show, people got to know who we are.
Hey, if you're gonna hammer one thing home about this IGN show, that's it. Massive cliffhanger. For sure. And I guess I might as well play that clip. That was one of the things that Zach brought up when he was talking today. Well, I'll just let you listen to the clip.
That's in there, but as far as those stories, I didn't. That would be yet to come if ever that happened, which it does not look like it would. But I think it's easy to speculate based on based on that.
It's so funny how he like rides the line on.
Yeah. So there was no plan for this to be like a cliffhanger ending then that picked up in a later film. Was it designed? Or
No, it was
there?
that it is a cliffhanger.
Zach?
The movie ends in a massive cliffhanger. Yeah.
That's exactly what I said in my head. Zach! That's exactly what I did when he said that.
Seriously, though, it's so funny to watch him in these interviews, and he does it in all the interviews because inevitably he gets asked about,
what about the future?
Is there going to be a next? And he's always like tries to like play it cool and like, well, we'll see. Like,
did you guys get the feeling though that this one in particular, when he was mentioning that, at least my feelings on it was that a little bit too much. He was saying it doesn't look like it's going to happen, which that doesn't really look like it's going to happen. Did you guys get that feeling at all? I felt kind of a little bit deflated when I feel like he mentioned it a couple times.
He did, yeah, for sure.
I feel like he's been doing this a lot lately. It just feels like this seems to be the narrative that he's been going against, or I guess with, is that, it's not going to happen. I think it was the comic book debate guys. That's where he was really pushing home. Like there wasn't going to be, there wasn't plans for another one. Just be happy that we got this one.
Mm-hmm.
This was lightning in a bottle, all those phrases that he was using and stuff. And so I was like, I remember I got deflated there, but then he keeps bringing up all these other things. And then obviously now this massive cliffhanger, and you're just like, and you start seeing the numbers and you're like,
right.
Is he just trying to dial back people's expectations, or is he just trying to make WB look ridiculous for this? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's interesting when you think about it, just because, like, I guess it could be a thing where he's just like under promise, over deliver kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because you definitely don't want it to go the other way, where like
right.
But and
even the part where he asked the question got asked about from a fan about a future movie, and what would you say hypothetically if HBO Max were to to sign you up for the other two? What would you say? And I was expecting him to go absolutely, and he did go back to the kind of the same type of we'll cross that bridge when we get to it kind of thing. I was just kind of put off a little bit by his answers, and you could be absolutely right. Yeah,
right.
I believe it when I see it. That just sounds so like, oh man, maybe he has that feeling. I
will admit that like that gives me a little bit of like it's you got that like sink in your stomach feel when he says that stuff. But then I just try and remind myself, like, money talks, subscribers, and like at the end of the day, like that, you got to imagine that's what it's going to come down to, especially on a platform like that, where they've done massive budget projects before, like Game of Thrones, where they'll pour cash into it if it's a moneymaker. So I don't know, just kind of like hanging on to that. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's what's going to speak is the numbers. And Wonder Woman 84 got pretty much an instant, promise for a third one, a trilogy. So
they were doing the same thing right up to that release too. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, it just depends on the story, whatever. They were downplaying any kind of. And honestly, I don't even know. Have you guys seen Patty Jenkins or Gal Gadot make a statement about that announcement of them doing? Because I haven't. I was just curious. Like, I know that WB put out that statement that they were coming back, but I haven't heard the two of them make any statement. So, but anyway, I don't know.
That's true. That's true. And as we've seen, WB likes to play the whole deflection piece narrative. So like that, because the movie didn't do great. So like critically, so you imagine like that's the kind of thing where they would be like, we're not getting a lot of great reviews. Let's put something out about the next movie definitely happening to kind of shift the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, I I swear. Yeah, true.
Jesus, it just feels like
I'm just trying to toe that line, Matt.
I've just never seen a company shoot themselves in the foot so many times. I can't get over it.
They have this massive fan base just screaming in their faces, and they
keep doing the opposite every time. Yeah. Every time, man.
It's amazing.
Henry Cavill Superman. Oh, we're rebooting Superman. Yeah, because that's what we've been bleeping asking for. Like, come on.
Yeah,
it's drives me crazy.
Oh my god. What's great too is when they put that out, instead of like, whatever some keyword from their storyline trending, like Henry Cavill was trending, because like that's all anybody was talking about.
I even saw people saying, well, at least Henry Cavill will get another shot. I'm like, no, they're not rebooting Superman with Henry Cavill in it. They're rebooting Superman. Like, people were just like, you couldn't understand that. Oh no, that means Henry Cavill is gone. Well, to a reasonable sense, as a solo Superman movie, he's gone. I mean, he might have a future with Zack Snyder's Justice League, but other than getting anything solo or anything like that, that sounds like it's gone. It's I just like, this is the dumbest. Wait until after Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like why would you announce something like this beforehand? Because if Cavill is received extremely well in this, people are going to want to see that Superman. And now you just announced this, and it's just going to go the way of New Gods and Black Hawks and all those other series and shit like that have been announced. And it's just gonna
should we be on like a 10-second delay, Matt?
No, he's passionate. It happens, No, I mean that is the thing. Like, look back at all their like Comic-Con panels and stuff. It's like riddled with like announced projects that never make it. Like, they just
it's a wonder.
It's like a 50% fail rate.
Yeah, it's a wonder. And this is something that Matt and I plan on doing, kind of a little bit in the future, is delving into that. And we have a smorgasbord of possible movies that have just failed. You know, like it's endless, and it's a wonder that they get any movies made, that they are a successful studio. And the thing that drives me crazy, and Matt and I have mentioned this before on our show, in terms of, like, we told the story about when we went down to visit the studio, and we did the whole Warner Brothers studio tour, and how Zack Snyder is just all over that thing, and it's awesome. It's awesome. You can tell how connected he is with Warner Brothers. And then you have something that, like, it's this week. It's, leading up the build, as Matt just mentioned, wait until after Zack Snyder's Justice League, but we're building to another event with IGN, and they're going to drop this news. And it's like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. You, on one hand, you hold the gentleman in high regard in Zack Snyder, and then on the other hand, you're just gonna, do stupid crud with him. I don't know.
Seriously,
it's because you think he has a bad take, or you just disagree with the guy. It's not, because even in that Vanity Fair article, it was like, even the people that may disagree with him say Snyder is a great guy to be around. And it's like, okay, so obviously it's not like he's done you wrong. It's not like, he went and kicked your dog or something, and that you got to act like this. It's just you disagree with him on how maybe some of these characters should be portrayed. And you're just shooting yourself in the foot constantly about stuff. Just let the fans take it. Just follow what is right. And just to announce this and all these other things, I don't know. I mean, there's the multiverse. I tried to think of it like, okay, the multiverse. So is this like Reeves Batman? Is this going to be a separate thing, and then Cavill's got his thing? Can it just be a different Superman in general? I mean, there's these in the comics. There are other characters like this in the comics. There's multiple Supermans in different ways, multiple Supergirls, and all this other stuff. I mean, could it just be that? Could it? We
were talking about this on the show the other day, and Fandom last year, when they announced the multiverse stuff, I was like through the moon on it. I was like, finally, like, this is cool. Like, you're gonna be creators, less tied to. But now, like, as this stuff has kind of progressed, I'm a little worried that they're gonna use the multiverse as like a crutch instead of like actually like world building. Like, something goes wrong, or they decide to ditch a it's multiverse, like, we can do anything.
It seems like that already. It really does. Like, oh no, it all exists. It's all, we're just in this kumbaya together. It's great,
right. Meanwhile, Marvel's doing WandaVision stuff, and it's like brilliantly sewn together, and
like, exactly. You just shake your head.
Yeah, Matt's not a fan of WandaVision now, right? Aren't you off the boat at this point?
I was really enjoying it. I guess it's not the last episode, but the episode before, I thought it hit a new level of stupid.
Yeah.
With that ending. I have not seen the newest episode,
Okay.
and I'm 50-50 on whether or not I actually.
Yeah, I'm not.
Just gonna quit cold turkey.
like I said before, I'm still on like episode 3 of Titans for the season 2 because I never went.
Well, listen, I watched every episode of Dexter until the last 2 episodes. I was like, nope, I'm done. Like they like cracked the bed so hard that I was like, I can't. I'm not going forward with this show. I know it's like 2 episodes. Like, so I'm done. It's over. Now the redo season that they're doing, I'm gonna watch it because I didn't like what they did in the last season. So if they're trying to make amends, then yeah, I'll tune in. I'll see.
Wait, Dexter's doing a redo season?
Yeah,
like where they're
pretending. I don't know if it's considered a redo, but they are basically. I mean, that's the intention. They're coming back to kind of like they know that they kind of phoned it in and did a pretty crappy job for their. I think season 8 or 9. I can't remember how many seasons they did, but.
Well, I just found out. Didn't Walking like AMC announced that Walking Dead's going to just get like an additional 6 episodes for their last season?
They really
I guess it was going in a certain direction, so they're like, you know what? We're just going to add 6 more episodes to this season. Like it was just something random. I was like, well, isn't that just season? Like I think they're on like 11 now. I was like, isn't that like season 11? No, it's still season 10, but we're just going to add 6 more episodes to it. Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'm a big sitcom fan. I can name a few sitcoms that I hope would go back and redo the last season. I know Game of Thrones was similar, right? I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I heard that the last season was just a dog.
It's very truncated. I wouldn't say it's bad personally, but it is super rushed.
Okay.
I have a lot of shows where I start. Game of Thrones is one of them. I got to a season and a half. And I was like, this just, I liked it at first. And then I was like, I just kind of fell at Dexter. I made it 2 seasons, maybe 3. And, but I think, spoiler, I guess, after the brother comes around or whatever that one was, the brother comes up, he kills the brother. And just like, it seemed like the whole world just kind of reset for it. I was like, really? All right. And I just kind of like, I'm pretty sure I'm probably missing out on some great stuff on that one because I think people told me like it gets even better in the later seasons and stuff, some of the later stuff. But, yeah. Oh,
I have to address this. Yeah, I got this new camera in it, and for what it worked fine earlier, and then I guess this auto tracking focus
tracker up there.
So that's how I went away for a minute. I had to fix that. Yeah. We're good now. We switched to manual. We're
doing business with you, Angie.
There you go. Yep.
It let me know when he moved because every time you just shift a little bit, this little thing. Like,
well, I took it to be working fine. I took my glasses off, and they're like, "Where'd he go? We don't know where he went."
See, that's how it works for Superman.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly. It all connects.
That's right.
Exactly.
I'll probably give it a shot because my girlfriend likes WandaVision, so I'll probably watch it. But even she kind of agreed, like, "Oh, that was just that last episode, the last episode, I guess it would be, was just I wanted it. I mean, I guess it's the last episode. I'm not going to really spoil anything, but it's just like I liked where it was going, and I liked the fact that somebody was just being so traumatized by what happened, and that she came out of the blip, that she did something irrational. And then they kind of just felt like they bought it all back. And I'm just like, why can't anybody in the MCU be fallible? No one in the MCU could they just have to be perfect. And it just has to be an evil something on the other end somewhere.
I will say that was one of the most because I have that same qualm with a lot of the MCU stuff. Like it seems like at the end of the day, everything's good, like everything's fine. And I always go back to, I think maybe it was Civil War, where Rhodes falls out of the sky and like, can't walk, like could be dead, can't walk. Yeah. And then he's just like, oh, I got some mechanical legs. Like it's all good.
Don't even notice him. No one ever even brings him up.
Right.
Yeah. No one ever even talks about him. Like,
but when it happened, I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah. Like we're actually going to like have a little like stakes here. Like this is good.
Oh, that's the epitome of the MCU though, is that they have the weight and then they just take it away from you. Like one of my biggest pet peeves was Thor Ragnarok, where the planet blows up and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this finally some, like, you can feel some emotion and punchline, and there's a joke, and you're like, okay, cool.
There you go. Maybe.
Yeah,
that's right.
So Matt, you have to watch episode 8. I think was the last one of WandaVision. It explains a little bit more what you're talking about. I agree though. The last 2, I was like, I don't know. but it explains a little bit more detail on like what you're talking about with her with Wanda kind of creating that whole town and everything like that. It goes into a little bit more detail.
I don't know. I just wanted her to be crazy. That's kind of what I just wanted her to be crazy, but no, it had to be something else. I don't know.
Crazy
I guess
hot.
maybe this is a PG show, Shane. All right.
Oh, sorry.
We don't need your tomfoolery like that.
my wife's right on the outside. You said what? No.
Yeah. With a shoe. Shane's out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, right. She's got Henry Cavill.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. See,
Oh,
David,
see,
he
there you
even
go.
forgot.
They don't
Hello,
even like.
David.
I actually kind of recently watched Infinity War, somewhat. I don't know, like a while. And it's funny when Captain America and all those guys kind of get reincorporated back into the world after their exile of Civil War. They look right at Rhodey, but they never even mention the fact that he's got magic legs. Like no one even freaking no one even mentions.
It's like it
a
never
thing.
happened.
Yeah,
Like,
it just
he used it as like a 2-minute emotional pull,
Yeah.
and then like, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Stark
Wasn't-
Industries.
It was also in Civil War that like when they're like fighting at the airport. I think it's like Hawkeye and Black Widow. They're like, we're still friends. Like it's just like a sparring session. It's like no stakes at all.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I hated that.
We did.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Hated
moving on
something?
to other. Yeah.
speaking of hate.
Anyone else have anything they want to hate on?
I could do this all day.
That's right.
hey, there you go. I get that reference.
As DC guys, it's easy picking with
Right.
MCU.
Exactly.
But we did have a little Martian Manhunter action today on the IGN stream,
Yeah, super fan.
which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'll play that clip here. Maybe. There we go.
Harry L. So let's take a look at his
Harry L.
She sold it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge fan.
Dead
I have a
face.
question for you. Calvin Swanwick, who was the CENTCOM commander there, the general, and then later became Secretary of Defense, was all along he really Martian Manhunter pretending to be Calvin Swanwick?
So he did. I guess he kind of confirmed, and I assumed that it was the case that he knew, or that he was Martian Manhunter the entire time. But it was an interesting question. For some reason, I'd never thought about the fact that like maybe it actually was Swanwick at one point, and
It was it was one of the many questions we were having. Like some of the possible times we could talk to Zack Snyder through possible podcasts. That was one of our questions. Was asking him about Martian Manhunter. How long has he actually been around? Has he just been? Is Swanwick even a person? But I do, this also just showed how much of a nerd I am because I laughed so hard at that. Henry L has a question, then he popped up. Yeah, I just started dying laughing. I'm like, that is great stuff right there. My girlfriend's just looking at me like,
who
the hell is it's just a guy asking a question. And like she's
Chill out, bro.
like you don't get it. He is Martian Manhunter. This is hilarious. He's in the movie.
This is great stuff.
And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember him. And I'm still laughing. And she's just like,
This
guy looks too put together to be asking questions on this.
He doesn't look like a nerd. What are you talking about?
He didn't whisper like some of the other guys where they're like, hey, Zach.
I did notice that. Like,
they were
totally
so
giving
nervous.
Totally giving off vibes to me, like their like girlfriend or wives were in the other room and they weren't supposed to be in there. Like they're probably in the bathroom. Like, hey, Zach, real quick,
I gotta ask this. No, coming, honey.
No, but I mean that's one of the things that his character is going to be one of the things that I am most interested to see in the Snyder Cut, just to see how they pull off that transition. Like obviously I know we saw the storyboards, but like not necessarily the physical transition, but like when does it happen?
Yeah,
like
the moment and
right. Like the storyboard, I think was the storyboard where he was walking away from Martha Kent, or was it from Lois? I can't remember. Where
he's Martha Kent and he's like leaving after talking to Lois. So he exits out of Lois.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Right. He exits out of the Lois and Clark's apartment. and then transforms. Does the 3 stages? He's first
and transforms
Martha, then he goes to Martian Manhunter, then goes to Swanwick, because you can't just have him go to Swanwick because that would be confusing. Martha's an alien, or
what? Yeah,
she's a scroll. No, anyway,
this Snyder guy doesn't know how to make a movie.
So you have to have that extra stage there, or else it gets really confusing. Just like in Terminator, where they always have him like shift to kind of the robot form and then back down again to the other form. Yeah. So
just a 2-step. He takes a step. He's one person. Takes another step. Different person.
Like T3.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Matt.
Yeah. Thank you.
We spent
he's been like banging on our door for since we started the show. When are we going to review Terminator 2, guys? Every week. When are we
just Terminator 2? We don't even have to review any of the other ones. Right. I've only seen Terminator one time. The rest of them thought of the same. Just Terminator 2 on repeat.
Did you guys watch the vodka stream stuff last night with Junkie?
Oh yeah, I did. I watched most of it.
Yeah, most of it.
Crazy. It's such a cool stream.
Yeah,
the whole time. So he's just sitting there, smoking a cigarette and drinking something.
Dude,
I don't know, but it was so great.
I felt like I was watching Mad Men almost, the way he just going at it and stuff.
It's great though, because he was like playing his clips and he's sitting there like smoking a cigarette, like, yeah, this is great. I know it is.
I'm awesome. One of my favorite things about Dave, and I don't know if it's just the show itself or how he presents it or whatever, but I feel like he can get most people like Zach, and Junkie and everyone to really just relax and just drink and smoke a cigarette or I guess so. It's his whole gimmick. Just it works so well, and it allows for just amazing interviews and just conversations, and he does a great job.
Conversation for sure. But yeah, they announced the full 4-hour score is going to be released, which is going to be nuts to listen to.
I think didn't he say it was like the longest score for a film, like a Guinness World Record?
He says it's the longest score going to be released for a film, because usually it's like snippets or something like that, and it's not just tracks, it's like the whole thing. It's like the whole movie soundtrack is going to be put on there. So it's like the longest one. I thought that interview was really, really intriguing to see.
It's good because he was super laid back when some of the just interviews in general. You can get a guest that's and got their guard up, but it seemed like he kind of let down and just kind of hung out for a while. Which
it's quite a still picture you had there of Snyder. Go back to the way he looks. He's like,
hey guys. But this is it. We were talking about runtime. He revealed the official runtime today.
Actually will be more than 214 minutes, you said.
Oh no, it's a little over 4 hours. I think it's like 4 hours and a few minutes, with the titles.
Is that locked too? Because I think the last time you spoke about it, you were still editing it and you weren't sure.
100% locked. No, it's 100% done.
Nice.
So that's official. 4 hours and a few minutes.
That's right.
That's exactly what I wrote down as a note.
Props to her for knowing the 214 cut. She's like, oh, it's obviously over 214. I'm okay.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
There were like a couple of moments where you could tell, because there's some stuff with this whole thing. Obviously, you get so deep in the geekdom that but I mean, there were maybe one or two things, tiny things that she didn't pick up on, but she was totally dialed into everything that everyone's talking about with this.
They have the right person interview him for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was worried with a platform like IGN how surface level it would have been, because historically a lot of their people that write for them or people that are on their shows kind of have a they take the cool route and kind of crap on Snyder stuff, and so I was worried.
Same here.
That would have been. Obviously, they wouldn't do it to his face, but
well, you could tell when they got this deal in order because the articles were becoming really nice and everything, and a lot of their video breakdowns were getting really nice.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely there was a shift, and then all of a sudden, oh look, we're gonna be on Zack Snyder's gonna be on FanFest. Yeah. Oh, and then look at all these nice videos and articles you guys are doing, talking about the aspect ratio, the video, and everything. I know the intro to this thing, they were just kind of breaking down the trailer. It was one of their YouTube breakdowns of the trailer and stuff. stuff, and then they're just talking about this build up and everything, man. And I was like, God dang, I swear. This is it's just still unbelievable to me. It's still surreal that it's coming. March 18th. And I was just sat there and I was just like, it really is. Here it is. We got 2 trailers now. He's doing press. We have all this stuff now, and it's finally coming. And I just can't believe it at this point.
When I watch this movie for the first time, it's just going to be my buddy asked me if we were going to like record ourselves watching it for the first time. And I was like, it's just going to be me like jaw dropped and probably crying half the time. Like,
yeah, exactly. I'm an emotional old man. I don't know if I can handle this.
Right.
Oh, I know. In the first, I guess now it's a teaser, but whatever. I still say it's a trailer, but the Hallelujah one, I know when it shows Lois out on the porch there at the farm, and then it shows Clark hugging Martha and Lois. I mean, that part, when I first saw it, man, the music kicks up, swells up right there. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Yep.
I'm a Superman guy. And I think it was like trailer 3 or something they put out for theatrical, and they had the scene of him or her walking out on the porch and him saying, so I take that as a yes. And like, I was just like chills. And then when I went and I watched that movie in theaters, and I was like, itchy.
Why?
It was itchy.
Yeah. Just ruined.
Looked over at Brandon with like, just like he could tell I was like heartbroken on my face.
That was me when I saw his lip in the first freaking scene. I'm like, what? I'm a Superman guy too. And I'm like, what did you do to my boy?
That was one of the greatest. That was one of the funniest things that I'll never forget when we first watched the movie. That first scene comes up and they're talking, and I'm like, wow. And then it cuts away after the cell phone footage and everything. And I look at Shane. I was like, man, did you hear that nonsense they just had him saying? He's like, no. I didn't hear a thing. I couldn't stop staring at his face. Right? And I was like, oh, that's a good point.
So you said it was the funniest thing. Was it the funniest thing in the moment, or is it retrospectively funny? Because I feel like, I don't know how you guys were. We were in the camp that were like trying our best to make this movie be good for ourselves because we needed closure, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how you guys were coming out. Like if you tried to, like,
next day we had like an 8-hour intervention conversation on the phone. We were like, like this part was all right. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like,
I the first time I saw it, I can't speak for Shane necessarily on this one, but I remember the first time I saw it, I really hated it, and I had a really gut reaction, like this was just a butcher job. And then we had our friend Nick come with us, who's a super Marvel fan, who's been on the show intermittently in the past anyway, and he started piling on it and stuff when we went and saw it the second time, and because of that just reaction of DC v Marvel, I was like, no, it's not that bad. I don't know what you're talking about. And so it kind of like I remember
Rhodes and his legs.
Yeah. And I still remember, I even have it recorded this moment where I say my gut reaction coming out of that was they screwed up the music, they screwed up the color grading, they tore this movie apart, all this other stuff, and I just lay out all this crap that I was like, this was terrible. And I just do this and I'm like, but when you watch it the second time, your expectations are lowered and like all this other stuff, and I make a bunch of excuses, and I was just, my first gut reaction was like, I can't believe they did this. And the biggest thing for me was I don't know why, but was the no black suit. I was like, I cannot. Yeah, instead of Stockholm Syndicate College House, like the black suit to me for some reason was the biggest thing that came. Two things actually came to, like, I couldn't believe they didn't do and didn't answer. Was there was no black suit, and they didn't answer why the dirt was rising off the coffin. Yeah, those were the two things at the time where I was just like, I can't believe this movie doesn't answer at least those questions. And or at least, and no black suit. How can you not have a black suit when Superman's resurrection?
It's funny because didn't they have like a black suit hat that they were like, that they put out as a,
I think so.
Henry,
I remember Ryan, I think you sent it to me, or I said, this is before the movie came out, and we were like, are we getting black suit Superman? And then, Cavill had posted like a black and white picture of his like feet or something, or maybe the S.
I think it was the S. Yeah.
So we were like,
obviously, like Shane, when I obviously watch BBS, and you're like, okay, this is going to be resurrected Superman. We're going to get the black suit. Like this is finally going to happen. And it was like the biggest letdown ever when that did not happen. When I came out of that theater.
I think it was apparent, and to exactly similar to Matt, I left the movie making, I want to say after my first viewing, making a lot of excuses for it, but also acknowledging, no black suit. and how D. Snyder that it was, is they were trying so hard just to take all of these elements and they made it to where if you didn't watch the other ones, you could still watch this one because it's its own thing. And I liked the fact that, oh, look, we got to see the Justice League, but it just didn't have that moment of even someone who's not like a huge supporter of the Marvel movies. I enjoy them, but you know, you get the moments like at the end of Endgame where you're like, okay, this is cool. And even though you're watching the Justice League in live action, I still didn't get that. I still didn't get that like, oh my gosh, yes, this is awesome kind of thing. And so, you know, I made some excuses and was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. My kids enjoyed it. So, you know, it's kind of what do they know? But
that's funny. That's one of the arguments that I felt like people go to, like my kid liked it, you know, so that's good.
Yeah.
I
bought the physical copy because my kids liked it. I was like, sure, I'll buy this movie. And then, you know, rewatching it, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, see, kids don't know what they're looking at. Because I remember as a kid, Mortal Kombat Annihilation was the better Mortal Kombat movie out of the two. And then I watched Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I'm like, that kid was an idiot because Mortal Kombat Annihilation is terrible. It is so bad. Mortal Kombat is okay. The original one is okay, and it kind of holds up. But like we were talking about earlier with Terminator 2, it's those movies from your childhood, like the Power Rangers. I'm not sure what your guys' ages are, but the Power Rangers movie that came out in like 95 or whatever, that thing is awful.
Oh, but it's so great. It's so great. It's so bad that it's so great. I watched it on VHS like a couple years ago, and I'm like, I just love this movie. It's so terrible and it's so good.
I just remember as a kid walking around the house doing this, like, you know, really like rigid Power Ranger. It like, wow, this really doesn't look that good on screen.
It came full circle for me. One of my boys is he's in first grade, and I was asking him how school was. I pick him up on Fridays, and he's like, oh, it was great. We played Power Rangers at recess. And I was like, oh my gosh, I played Power Rangers at recess. Yeah. Yep. And he's like, I was a Red Ranger. And I was like, oh my, this is crazy. Like,
I was a Red Ranger too.
Exactly.
You're getting blacklisted.
Oh,
your Power Rangers shade.
Oh man, that most recent one that came out. Holy.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, I was we had it, but we also had a guy when we went and saw it in theaters. There was a dude that was just laughing at the most ridiculous times. So you remember this guy? So like the kid, it gets all quiet, and the kids are like in the minivan, and then they get hit by like a train or something, and they're just rolling, and the music kind of goes quiet, and this dude just starts dying laughing as these kids are
dead.
And I remember, because we're psychopaths too, apparently, we start laughing because this guy's laughing at these kids.
He was just having the time of his life.
and so we started laughing at it. Anyway, I remember that. I was just like blown away by the Megazord at the end. Like, I didn't find the movie too bad until the Megazord at the end. I was like, why are they in the kneecaps? And why doesn't the sword come from the sky? Like, that's just
that's a good question. For some reason, I was thinking, and I've only seen it once, but isn't there like a like coffee shop or donut scene or something in that movie?
Rita Repulsa donut.
Oh my gosh,
scene.
That was. I think I told you, Brandon, after I saw it, I was like, you need to watch this movie for the donut shop scene.
Oh man, now I got to go back because I'm not sure. I've only seen it once too.
I think it's like a Krispy Kreme. I want to say,
oh my gosh,
it's product placement and
agonizing. I was like, oh, so cringy.
That's one of those movies I make a lot of excuses for too. I'll put it up, and I do own it on Vudu, and I watch it, and it's not that great, but
it's just digital. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those that was like, when it was marketed, I was like, oh, this looks like Chronicle. Like, it could be, you know, very, very much more of a grounded approach. Like, because that like who's the guy that did that? Was it Ari? I can't remember his name, but the guy that did the like very grounded Power Rangers like short that had what's the girl?
Was Katie
Sackhoff and I can't remember who else was in it. But yeah, did you guys see that?
Haven't seen that? You need to watch it. It's awesome. It's just on YouTube.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Much better. I mean,
it's what they should have done with the Power Rangers movie.
Gotcha.
It's like a rated R approach.
Oh, that's cool. And see, and I feel like that's like Snyder's almost ruined me for now. If anyone kind of sort of rips off his style of like, yeah, let's make a grounded Spider-Man or a grounded Power Rangers, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I love it.
Dude, I watched the
And I just
trailer
eat
for
it
that
up.
Superman and Lois show, and that's exactly what I thought. I was like, all the like lens flares and like Fortress of Solitude unshot. I was like, oh my God,
there's emotion.
Did you love this? And
did you watch episode 1?
Not yet. I need to. So full disclosure, I was not a fan of his appearance in Supergirl, and one of the reasons was the costume. I hate the snap-on cape. I can't do it. I can't handle it.
The Lois is good. He's better in this version. But my initial takeaway as non-spoilery is this is their we can have our cake and eat it too. They're going after both. Both meaning people who like Christopher Reeve. They have the campy, corny type things. Like I'm sure you saw the
that's all the like intro scene.
Thing with
Action Comics thing.
Yep, exactly. And so they have utilized some of that, but then they also have an emotional aspect of it as well. And then they have some darker things, and there's like a really cool connection between him and his kids. So they're trying to like do both. And it's really interesting. I don't really care for him as Superman or Lois. But I'm intrigued. And after watching the first episode, I'm like, wow, they're really they're going to try to attack everybody and say, yeah, let's love our show.
That's my number one qualm, I guess, is just the casting. Like for Superman, I just don't at any level. I just don't get it.
Especially after
he's got black hair.
Right. Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. It's like also that's another thing Snyder's ruined you on is getting more physically fit people to do the roles. I mean, before Michael Keaton, he's 5'7" and he's your Batman, but he can still look imposing and stuff like that. But now with Snyder, you got all these guys that are over 6'2", even freaking Wonder Woman's almost 6 foot. You got all these people that are very imposing. And then when you see I remember on Infinite Crisis when they were doing that and they had Brandon Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman, and they're standing next to each other. I'm like, see, that's the difference. TV Superman. Movie Superman, because he is just so much bigger, taller, just bigger chest. He just looks like Superman, and this dude looks like his kid is like his teenager is playing as well. It's like a cosplayer.
That's what I saw online. It was a picture of Henry Cavill. It was like Superman, and then a picture of him, and it was like cosplayer.
I actually gave him props because it looked like that Hoechlin had like kind of bulked up for this role. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I don't think he did. I think they have
they Shazammed
added it up.
Yep, they Shazammed him because in the scenes when he's Clark, it's noticeable. Where you're like, no, he actually didn't bulk up for this at all. Like I think it's the same dude. They did a pretty good job at whether it's the suit, CG, whatever the case of going, okay, yeah, that looks like Superman. The suit's way better. I think the suit's way better, but it is still like a cosplayer because it's a screen print. Oh shoot!
Yeah,
pulled out my headphones, but it's a screen print suit, and again, Zack Snyder and what's his name, Michael Wilkinson have this beautiful suit and Man of Steel and Justice League and everything, and they're so gorgeous, and then you have this, and you're like. Okay,
it doesn't help that he's trying to kind of rip it off with the pattern too on it, but it's just not as high a production value as so it's just like really blatant.
Have you guys seen those ads that float around during Halloween time where you can buy like a I think it's called the Zentai lycra suit? Yeah, that's what it reminds me is CW just went or whoever's producing it said, oh yeah, give me one of those. Right, that'd be perfect.
That's right. What do you guys think of the and since we're talking about this other stuff, the Sasha Calle or Callie, I'm not sure what the pronunciation is, but as Supergirl
casting.
I think this is the thing for me, and it even goes into the Superman reboot. If they embrace the multiverse and have these characters, if these characters actually embrace the multiverse and take on other characters, I think it would be cool. I mean, I don't know if they're going to try to make her Kara I'd have no idea if they're going to go Kara. Someone pulled up, on that endless line of the multiverse and different versions of Supergirl. I think it was like CiRL is one that she, is a different type of Supergirl. And she's, I'm not quite sure what her relation was, but like it's a different type of Supergirl. So I was like, okay, leave Kara. Because and that was another thing from the IGN FanFest was that is that dang pod that's been open in Man of Steel. And he just won't give in. He just won't even hint. Like, I mean, the prequel comic said it was Kara. Like, I don't understand. It's like, he's acting like, oh, well, there's that prequel comic, but it could have been different. I'm like, what was the point of the comic? It's just weird stuff like that. And so, like, if Kara is meant for future things or something to happen, in the multiverse, or in the Snyderverse, then let that be. And if they want to have Flash going through all these multiverses, why not be a different Supergirl? I think it was like CiRL or something like that. Let it be her. And if it's a different Superman they want to reboot and take into a different direction, like they did with Pattinson's Batman, that's still Bruce Wayne, but have somebody else, like a different Superman, a different, not Clark Kent, a different one, then that's fine. I don't really care, but I just don't understand of rebooting these characters when you already have these characters already. Like, why? Because we already have Henry Cavill. And I have this it's like a weird like push-pull thing internally for me, because I'm like, this is cool. Like, we're actually going to get a Supergirl movie, like live action Supergirl movie, which is awesome. But then at the same time, I'm like all I really care about is what Snyder does. So
exactly. Well, you're forgetting about the awesome Supergirl movie that came out in like the 90s. Or whatever.
No, it was in the 80s, wasn't it? Yeah, it was before Quest for Peace.
Oh yeah.
No, it was in the 80s. Yeah, because because she was supposed to be in Superman 3, but the Saul Kinds removed her, and they just put her in that random movie. Where oh man,
they were just trying. This is a random plug for HBO Max, but it is on HBO Max, and I made it about halfway through.
It's so bad. Go watch it.
Yeah, everything you're going to plug. That you owned a few copies on Vudu.
Not of that one.
It's the thing also for me. This isn't the Flash. So like, okay, so she's Supergirl in at least the Flash. Does that mean she's Supergirl and the rest and other movies? Is this what's going on with this? And I still have a problem that the writer for Flash is the same person that brought us Bumblebee and Birds of Prey, and somehow this individual is going to tackle this huge multiverse where you're going to have all these characters, and somehow we're going to tackle all this, and it's going to go swimmingly.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about Birds of Prey, but I was not a fan of Birds of Prey.
I think we know how Matt feels just based on that statement.
Yeah, that's true.
He loves Bumblebee and Birds of Prey.
Oh gosh, that movie. It wasn't like it was like terribly made or anything, but the acclaim it got, I was like, how are people irreverent about this film?
Yeah,
like
I think just what bugged me the most was the potential it had. Yeah, it had a lot of potential. And I remember we did, maybe it was a stream, maybe it was on the stream, but we did this thing like all the possibilities they could have had and how to set up the universe with that movie and still be in the DC universe. Like instead of Cassandra Cain being a teenager that just steals diamonds, actually have her be Batgirl. Right. Because at this point, if you're looking at the universe, Batman is MIA, because they even say that in the trailers. The Gotham Bat is gone in that original Justice League run. The Gotham Bat is gone, yada yada yada. And Joker could be doing his own thing, and they need a new Batman or a Batgirl. And Cassandra Cain comes into town. It's like there was I had this whole thing mapped out of all these possibilities that they could have connected it, utilized it, expanded, made it really good with like new characters, and it could have been just something more. Oh, and that was the other thing: get rid of Black Mask and have it be Joker. It should have been Joker. And that whole thing, because the Bat's gone, Joker's taking over Gotham, and then you just have all these things. You have a Batgirl appear with Cassandra Cain, and then eventually Black Canary and all these other ones. Yeah, I think it was like this whole thing that you could have set up the universe and build in those gaps between Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League, all these possibilities to fill in these gaps with these smaller characters, but still characters people want to see. And it's just like, it just totally just blew it for comedic purposes.
That was one of those things, and I guess I knew it going into it just because of all the news about Jared Leto not being involved and stuff. But the Joker and Harley Quinn, like they're tied together. Like as like you can make a movie about them being, they kind of did it in Suicide Squad where they're being pulled apart, or they're fighting and but like you can't just like buy Joker and never do his own thing, in my opinion. Like he's got to be in some way, like they're just tied, like they're tied to each other. Their whole existence is tied.
Almost like the title is the emancipation of the one Harley Quinn, I think it is, or something like that. It was like the whole title. Okay, emancipation from what? Like have Joker. Like Joker needs to be in there. That's part of the thing.
Got a little cartoon at the beginning.
They made a cartoon, guys. That was enough.
Well, then there's that slight Easter egg of okay, this is still after Suicide Squad. That was it. Just very slight. Look, it's the same universe, sort of. Yeah, just that's Warner Brothers and the whole DCEU in a nutshell of the potential that it has, and then really what we're delivered afterwards. We're like, okay, cool.
Seriously, and I get it, because directors, you want director's vision. Yeah. But it didn't even sound like that was Kathy Yon's vision, because she's slowly rolling out saying how much studio kind of took that away from her. So it wasn't even like it was really her vision.
Like how many movies you got to steamroll to realize that you're not doing it the right way?
yeah, no kidding.
I just in that Vanity Fair article. I mean, we talked about this when we were actually able to talk to Snyder about on that Real Emotion podcast. And he started talking about then that they were giving him the 2-hour mandate, and I think that was the first time we ever heard him say they were giving him the 2-hour mandate, that it wasn't something afterwards after he left, that it was something that they were forcing upon Whedon and stuff. No, they were actually trying to get him to cut down a movie to 2 hours, and that's the first time he said it. And then when you think about it, it's like, okay, so you cut down Batman versus Superman to 2.5. And because what we're working on right now with our part 3 of our series and stuff, like you look at all the reviews and it's all talking about how bad the editing is.
Yep.
So you forced upon a cut down to 2.5 hours. 3 hours comes out and there's tons of praise about how the movie makes more sense. It's more cohesive. It actually flows better. All these things. So then somehow you get the bright idea later on that you need to cut it down now to 2 hours, and this is going to go swimmingly.
It's only 6 characters, man.
And he brought that up in the IGN FanFest again. Yeah, and it's just like,
just throw that out there a little bit.
The process of thinking, it's like, okay, do you not realize that the more you're getting involved, the worse these movies are doing? Like
Suicide Squad.
It just seems weird to me that, like, if you just backed off a little bit, maybe like you did with, thinking about it now, like Joker, where that was just completely Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix. Hey, look, it's a rated R movie that made $1 billion in the modern era.
And it's almost because they didn't have confidence in it. Like, sure, here you go. Yeah, just have your little pet project.
And even then, like, the movie, like Man of Steel and BVS, they did great monetarily. Like, it was just like the critics thing bothered them,
right?
And they were like, we cannot have a critically trashed movie like that again.
Well, and they thought BVS was guaranteed $1 billion. They thought, yep, here's number 1 in our universe. Number 2 should be $1 billion, and if not, it's a failure. Crazy. That's almost what it seems like.
It's so illogical. Like, you can't just just because Batman and Superman are in the title doesn't mean like you're guaranteed that kind of cash out of the gates.
Right. Well, plus, it's also how you marketed it too, going up to it. Yes, there was a lot of excitement and everything, but when you start giving away things in the trailers and stuff, and just some of that a little bit, I think it dies a little bit down. And then the weird articles, again, like we're doing this stuff and you just see these weird articles coming out. Like there was one before Batman versus Superman where it was like Warner Brothers has a strict no joke policy in the movies. And that was an article before Batman versus Superman. And it's like, all right. And then when you look at the Ultimate Edition, what did they cut out? A lot of humor from Perry White, because a lot of the things get taken out was Perry White stuff. Like when he hands him to go to the kids of Metropolis or whatever thing it was. He's like, somebody requested you personally. They must like nerds with nerds that like books or something like that. He says some comment like that. Nerds with books or something like that. And it's just, it's funny little banter that Perry White has on Clark, and like a lot of that got cut. And it's like, so wait, you like you're talking about this humor, you want humor injected into it, but yet you start removing a bunch of the humor. And that was one of the things in the Vanity Fair article too. He's like, wait, I filmed the jokes and the heartwarming scenes that you all wanted, and now you want me to cut it down to 2 hours.
Right.
Just make a sitcom. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Well, it sounds like a great limited series for HBO Max. The
Yeah.
actual Justice League sitcom.
Oh man.
Also, I guess I did want to touch on. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but like, essentially at the end of the day, I think everybody in this fandom, like, all they really want to know is like, are we gonna get more? Like, we got the Snyder Cut coming. We know we got to blow it up. Are we gonna get more? And I'm just curious about like what your thoughts are on like what is success for this movie in your opinion. And again, like, you know, he kind of mentioned like it's not my call as to whether more is made. Like, who actually, we don't even know who actually makes that call anymore. Like,
yeah. It's a little like at the end of the day, is it a Jason Keeler call? Is it an Emmerich call? Is it who else will be Hamada? That's just
Jim Lee apparently too,
because it seems like the HBO Max Warner Media side is like very much in the Snyder camp as far as the things that they say online. Like, they're very positive about
their
it.
activity online, in and of itself.
So I'm just curious. I didn't know what you guys felt about that as far as like, or if you have any insight on, you know, how the inner workings go in terms of, obviously it feels like the main thing is numbers. We talked about that earlier, but if it does great numbers, then, you know, they'll see the potential for it, regardless of who's in charge and regardless of any like, you know, them being butthurt over how things went originally and, you know, pride and things like that. But just curious to get you guys' insight on it.
Matt, do you want to go first?
Okay, I guess I will. You know, I actually, leading up to it, I had a lot of confidence that we were easily going to get sequels to this, because it's like, it didn't make sense to me that you would invest $70 million to restore this thing to almost the original vision in general. Like, why, if you wanted just the movie, you would have just fixed up the 214 cut. There, you know, that's the thing. Yeah. If you wanted a movie, you would have done that. If you want a vision, you do what they did. And I was pretty confident at the time that I was like, okay, they're going to keep going with this. This is not that it's a done deal, but this seems pretty confident in the situation. But then you started getting the cul-de-sac article, you know, the road that leads to nowhere. And I'm like, okay, so wait, you're investing all this money. WB and HBO are investing this money, but then you got some guy out there, who knows, you know, there's a lot of speculation who could be, and saying that, no, this is just one and done. Okay, why are you one and doneing a movie that you put so much money into? Why didn't you just finish
yet? Like, you haven't even seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Months results, and that was months beforehand too. Yeah, months beforehand. You haven't even. And then when you hear Zach start talking about the worldwide releasing of the marketing, or not of the worldwide release of the movie, it's like there was no plan. There was absolutely no plan for a worldwide release. It was like just us in the States and maybe a couple other places, but they just had no. They weren't trying.
That interview where he was asked about it, where he was like visibly like, I wish I was in charge of that too, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I think he said they underestimated the worldwide demand. And I was just like, man, you start hearing that, the cul-de-sac thing, you're like, it's like these guys are just, they maybe did just do it to get the internet off their backs. How
do you underestimate something and throw $70 million into it? Is the question.
See, that's what's so confusing, man, because you're looking at that, you're looking at these variables and you're like, okay, well, you know, this makes sense. But so it's like, is it the HBO and AT&T side that's giving the money and the positive outlook on it, and it's just these stubborn guys at Warner Brothers that just look at this as a one and done? And now then, when the numbers just blew up on February 14th, and then finally we started getting an announcement about worldwide releases, and they're finally figuring out how they're going to cater to people outside the States. And okay, so that's one step closer. But then you hear Snyder today, especially, okay, no, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. You know, there is nothing going on. And again, that could be just to quell expectations. But, you know, at the same time, it's like he knows something. Like, I mean, it feels at the same time where he knows something that, you know, is that they don't seem enthusiastic about this at all. So why am I going to continue something if they're not going to, you know, why even say there's a possibility of these guys just keep underestimating this thing at every possible level?
Yeah.
He did kind of give them a little bit of an excuse when, I can't remember if it was in an article or interview, but he did mention that he said that everything happened so fast that they just weren't prepared for it. So not at that point, not necessarily did they underestimate it. They just weren't prepared. So he gave them a little bit of an excuse of like, okay, I get that side, but it does seem like on the AT&T Warner Media side of things, they are like, yeah, let's throw money at whatever content we can get. This is great. And then WB on the other side is like, well, they have to distribute it in different ways. And there's a mixture between legalities that have to do with that and probably just not wanting to, it definitely seems like there's a point where they're just like, oh yeah, sure. Like where he mentioned that rough cut, they're like, sure. Yeah. Just put that out. That'll shut everyone up kind of thing. And I think there's a large part of me that feels that this is successful just because we're getting it released in such a quick time. And to not overlook that, and he's he talks about that a lot. Let's appreciate kind of like what we got. Like this is insane what this fandom has been able to do to get it released so quickly. So let's appreciate that, and I think that's success in and of itself. But there's a big part of me, especially with a massive cliffhanger quote, where I know I'm going to be wanting more. I'm like, okay, let's hit the ground again, guys. Let's do it. What else do we have to do? Billboards and whatnot kind of thing to continue. But I hope that there are smart people with money on one side that will leverage everything that they can to be like, let's do it. In the streaming wars that we got right now, you need some exclusive content. And I'm thinking, and I'm confident that this is going to just go crazy and that they'll give, hopefully they'll be like, yeah, let's figure out a way to do this.
Yeah, seriously. God, Brandon.
No, as far as the IP thing, as far as just like streaming services wanting content, no other streaming service has an IP like this or they're not willing to put an IP like this on streaming on. Marvel's doing a little bit with like, tertiary characters and whatnot with WandaVision, Loki and that kind of thing. But like that in itself, the Justice League, being exclusive HBO Max thing is huge for them. Yeah. And you would think that that's like something that them, and I feel like they would want to, pursue further than just this, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously numbers are the biggest factor in it. There was this great picture. I think it's like from Facebook or something. I don't know. Someone took a screenshot of this little conversation here, and there's a great picture someone has here of like Darkseid sitting on a throne or something like that. And the guy answers, second best villain in DC universe. And somebody asked, who's the first? And his answer, Warner Brothers. And I was just like, I was just dying laughing at that. I was like, it's just so true. It's just so true.
It's just, it's baffling. And then you have all the kind of talked about the internal, like Warner Media versus Warner Brothers versus HBO Max versus no one can really put their hand on, what's actually going on in this organization.
Well, if the numbers are good, the AT&T is going to override WB no matter what, and that's how we got the cut in the first place. Yeah, because the numbers that AT&T saw was like, okay,
AT&T went, oh wait, there's obviously interest in
why
this.
are we ignoring this?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
That's what's so crazy about
this. Is money over here. We're business.
This thing is like such a perfect storm of so many variables that came to this moment. It's like, it's so crazy just to recap all the things that have happened to make this, a real thing. And that AT&T buyout was the reason we got theatrical so poorly handled in terms of how rushed it was, and it's also the saving grace. There's more to it than that, obviously, but it's just crazy to think about.
So I think definitely if the numbers are high, they're going to do it. Then the other variables is Affleck. I think Affleck is another one because it feels like every interview he has, somebody asks him about it, and he kind of is like, well, I'd rather do movies like The Way Back and stuff like that. These big blockbusters and stuff like that. I'd rather stick to more grounded things like that.
I was hoping that Ana de Armas thing was going to be his lifeblood and be like, I want to do these things again. I want to keep going. And then they broke up and it's like, dang it.
I sent Brandon
depressed.
that article. He was
Well,
like, "No."
It could be the reason why he didn't want to do it, man. Because you're gone for a long time. You want to be over there instead.
That's
you know,
true.
those little indie films and stuff that you're only on set for a couple of days and stuff. You got to completely control.
Yeah.
So maybe now he's freed up. He's like, all right, yeah, I'll go back in the rubber suit.
Get his workout on, trying to make himself look good for
impress someone else.
I was actually impressed with the reshoots because obviously the Joker scene from the trailer is a reshoot and how he looks. I was like, somebody had kind of a nightmare image from BVS and that one, and I was like, man, he actually looks better now. He his face just fit better into the mask, into the cowl.
Yeah.
And to me,
better than it did in the theatrical.
No,
Not spilling out.
Oh, horrible.
Poor guy.
And they zoomed in on his face too.
That was when they announced those reshoots. Brandon texted me. He was like, "You think he can fill the suit out still?" Like,
well, because he's thinner than he was.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's for sure.
So,
so I thought the nightmare, at least that reshoot right there, I was like, man, he looks good, man. He's got the 5 o'clock shadow going. He looked great in that thing. So I was just like, oh man, I mean, yeah, I think he could. And he wouldn't, I don't know if he, because obviously, like you said, he's much thinner, and I don't think he probably bulked up a lot for reshoots.
Mm-hmm.
I could take him like that. He doesn't, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see his chest so well, so he may not have that big.
Just Shazam him. Just
exactly. Well, or in in a nightmare type scenario, really, where is he getting his protein from to maintain that muscle mass? So
he was already lifting chains and rusted dumbbells.
That seems like something Zack Snyder would pay attention to.
Exactly. He's on a strict diet.
Right. Everything can be explained. Well, look, guys. Yeah, that's right. We appreciate you guys. We don't want to keep you too long. We appreciate you guys coming on. This was awesome. And we hope we can have you guys on again soon to talk about more of this stuff. That's the reason me and Brandon started this show, is like we talk to each other about this Snyder stuff all the time, and we could talk to nobody else about it. So we were like, maybe we should build a community around it.
That's how it starts, man. That's how it starts.
That's how it starts.
That's right.
It was Shane and I.
There he is.
It was Shane and I. After BVS and kind of, I guess Civil War is probably thrown in there too, but I guess mainly BVS, and we just be talking all the time. We're like, I think this doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what people are talking about. It's like the people are raging about Batman killing, but in Civil War, Falcon blows people up and shoots them all, and he's shooting them and blowing them up with rockets, and no one's saying a word, and it's just all these things, and we're like just baffled. We're like, what is going on?
A 45-minute gym session turned into 3 hours because
we lifted once, and
and we're just sitting there I still remember. I will never forget. We both jump on the treadmill. And I think it was Matt first, it's almost like, when we first connected, but Matt goes, I'm really serious about this podcast thing. I'm getting serious about it. And I look at him like, you know what? Me too. Let's do it. And there's the inception.
That's awesome.
Because it just, stuff just didn't make sense. And we're like, we got to talk about this. And our first episode is atrocious. It is so bad because we just did not know what we're doing. We're just sitting in a random empty room, and there's a mic sitting in front of us on the table, and we're just like,
there's an office at my old job. We went to the office building and recorded. Nice. We didn't know about anything. We're like, let's just break both these movies down. Sure.
Let's just do this. We're still trying to figure it out. So we appreciate you guys.
So are we. Clearly.
And then Ryan wasn't lying when he said that we had an 8-hour conversation after Justice League theatrical. That's the truth. We talked at work. And that's why we were like, we talk about this stuff all the time. Let's just start a podcast. And so it was a good excuse.
Might as well record it, right?
Exactly. Someone's got to like it. Maybe.
It was good, man. We were at one point, because we were struggling getting things going. Like, maybe we need to go to the gym. Like, just put the mic in the gym.
Background.
Just start talking.
Exactly.
Do you guys want to push any Twitter handles or YouTube handles, that kind of thing? Patreon. I know you guys have all that stuff. So
sure, we're Comic Movie Marks everywhere.
Our little things covering you up.
Oh, you're
we'll have
Mar.
We'll just take it off for a second. There it is. Comic Movie Mark.
Nice. Yep. Comic Movie Marks. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are on YouTube community now. We've been kind of leveraging that a lot. We do have a Patreon if you want to support us. and we have a YouTube membership, and then we do have some sweet merch as well.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
fancy.
And nice little website.
Very
I
nice.
keep forgetting about that. We actually
Well,
got like,
even though you
it's
wear it.
going
Yeah.
so well. Jose knows. Jose.
yeah,
I saw him in the
Jose
comments.
M there in the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
He's a man.
He's
He's blowing up the
comments.
comments. I love it.
that guy.
Yeah, we got like our last stream. We got a bunch of YouTube members like, oh my god, this is like a real show now. We can't.
Nice.
You guys are making this like a real show. I don't want standards. I'm like, what the heck are you guys doing?
And now after being on your guys, like you have these awesome cameras. Obviously, you have a great logo. I mean, we have a great logo, but you guys have a great logo. The intro, you pay for StreamYard. Like, what are we doing? Actually, our fans are going to be like, "What are you doing with our money?"
I got this
At the end of the day,
$14.99
you have
webcam.
subscribers though, so
Yeah, that's true.
you win.
We're just trying to make people think that we're like prestigious.
Make it till you
We're
make
not
it, baby.
there. We're not like you
No,
guys.
that's-
We have to
no,
we have
that-
to make it. We're like posers in that regard. So
No, that is definitely, that was our goal as well. It's like, you got to fake it until you make it. You got to, figure out like, okay, we got to have a sweet logo. We tried all these different things to kind of be like a business sort of like, yeah, let's market us and those type of things, but we're not marketing people. So we just go out there. And then eventually we said, let's just be ourselves
Dude,
that's what you got to do.
like that's why I watch, man. You guys are awesome. Really enjoy the show, and Brandon obviously really enjoys the show as well. So
I can't tell if that's just maybe he's just saying that, like if that's fake or not. Like, yeah, he really enjoys
yeah.
it.
He actually didn't want to bring you guys on.
But Ryan, who are these guys?
Trailer trash. No.
When I first saw your
Do they
guys'
even have a
handle, I was
camera?
like, I thought, are they both named Mark? And then
We get that a lot.
everybody-
We get that a lot. Mark's is like a super fan thing for initially when we started, we were doing, this was the other thing is we had no idea what we were going to do it on.
Yeah.
So we were doing wrestling. That's where the term Marks comes from, is from pro wrestling. So we were doing wrestling stuff, talking about that. We were talking about comic book stuff, comic book movies. We were doing video games,
NFL weekday rundowns or weekend rundowns.
I loved those. Our Laces Out.
Yeah, we call it the Laces Out segment.
Oh, it was so fantastic. So we would like pick. We would pick who what NFL teams would win in certain games. Then we were competing against each other, and it was good stuff. And then eventually we're like, let's focus on this.
Oh, dude, the Let's Plays are probably the biggest tragic thing of all. Because
they're so fantastic.
Because like Shane's the closest one to being able to play the wrestling game. I've never played those ones before, so he's the only one playing the whole time. And like it's just a crap show because he can barely play as well. Like it just sucks.
We're just like, let's do this.
Yeah.
I love the wrestling drops. I grew up watching wrestling, so anytime you guys have your little wrestling drops in your videos, like like the
I've tried. I try to incorporate wrestling as much as possible when I'm doing the videos and stuff.
Was it the last one you guys did? Like Scott Steiner when he's like doing all the multiplication stuff? It's so great.
33 and 3/3%.
It's so
you
great.
get the marks.
41% chance of winning. The numbers don't lie.
It's so good. So good.
Oh man, it's funny too because I was actually like looking at that thing. I was like, it's 25 seconds long, and I'm like, I'm trying to cut it down so it fits a little bit better. But then it doesn't lose. It loses a bunch of its fun, and I'm like, all right, screw it. 25 second thing. Just gonna let it just sit there. And he's just rambling off random numbers.
I love it.
Great. The people that get our references too. It's I think that's what makes it.
I think
that's what I was saying. I love it. That's what I was saying about it being hilarious is because I mean I get all that and and I've sent your videos to people to be like, okay, watch this. If they ask me something about Snyder Cut, like, all right, look, these guys break it down. It's entertaining, but they also break it down and give you a good like history lesson. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, you
All
want to get us out of here?
Yeah,
I can't wait to see this outro.
Hold on, let me get
that's what he's here for. Came for the intro and outro.
After that intro, my expectations are high, man.
All right, guys, we will see you around. And again, we'd love to have you back. So
yeah,
we'll make it happen. I'm sure.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Brandon.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Bye.